Hi everyone, today we're going to talk a little bit about how experiences that you can have in past lifetimes, that you can experience at the time of enlightenment, um, can basically uh, be applied to things that happen in the present day. Okay, so one example of this, and this is a curious case, so this video might be dated at one point, but I thought I'd talk about this anyways. If you check in one of my previous videos, I talked about one of the experiences of enlightenment of living in caves, right? Okay, today I was reading the news and I read I think it was a report from the Pentagon or something like that about unidentified flying metallic orbs, right? So that right away was immediately recognition for me because I did experience those metallic orbs. They're probably the same ones or a similar concept, right? At the time of enlightenment. So let me tell this story, and I'll get to where I want to go with that. In one of the experiences of enlightenment, I lived as a member of a culture that lived in caves. So we lived in cave systems, not a cave specifically like one cave, but cave systems, right? So with entrances to the surface, right? At that time, we wore malas, so many malas around our neck, and they were very important culturally. Our malas, and before we went to war, we would tie them up at the neck. So tying your mala like that at the neck is a sign of conflict, of war, and we would tie the malas so they wouldn't make noise, right? In war, when we would go to war. Who did we fight against? Okay, so we lived in these complexes. Very interesting. You know, when you moved in the caves, you didn't use torches. We didn't use torches at that time to move around in the caves. We actually had powders so you would move in the caves, then you would find a little bowl. If you were from there and you knew how the cave systems work, you would find a bowl, and then there was basically a chemical reaction or something like that. You would mix some stuff together and it would make it glow. And because we lived in the caves, we were adjusted to low light levels. We could basically navigate like that, the tunnels, and go from the equivalent of one city to the next underground. So it's if someone would ask me where were those caves, I couldn't tell you exactly where they were. Um, but many of the experiences I think I've localized pretty much to Sri Lanka, okay, or areas of the world around there. So basically, it's difficult to you look at a modern map and you weren't necessarily looking at the modern map when it was happening to you during your experience. So what happens is who were we in conflict with? Why were we living in caves? Basically, is a good question, right? So we were actually at war. Okay. Uh, First of all, war is a horrible thing and should be avoided at all costs. Okay, but except if you have to defend yourself. But that's another subject. I've talked about this before. We were at war. Okay, and who were we fighting? Okay, what we were fighting basically. Um, I, um, I actually experienced going to war, going to defend our borders basically. And what are our borders when you live in a cave? The entrances to the cave from the surface. Okay, so what we did is we actually had the cave systems where we would defend. It would get very, very, very narrow, the entrance to the cave. Okay, very narrow. Okay, and what we defended against was metallic orbs like that. Okay, what are those metallic orbs? Those are drones. Okay, they're a form of drone. Okay, and the way that we used to defend ourselves and defend the entrance to our cave from these drones. Okay, I went actually on a war party to defend the entrance to our cave, and I fought one of um, these metallic spheres that are drones. Okay, I'm sure there's some in different sizes. Just to give you an idea, the one we fought was about I'll give you an idea, probably about like this size kind of thing, so a drone like that. And what we did is basically um, what we would do is we would basically fight these drones and not allow them to enter the cave system. Okay, at that time. So where did these drones? They would try to come in. So basically, how did we fight the drones? Okay, um, how did we basically combat these drones? You know, and I hope that never has to happen because that would really, really not be unfortunate. But how did we survive? We would basically set up right around the entrances to the cave, the narrow entrance, a few of us, okay, the warriors, and we would have nets. You can like thick nets that you can put over, okay, but and basically what we would do is when the drone would come, we would capture the drone in a net, and then we also had tridents, okay, and we would spear the trident, and the spear in the trident would overload you know, maybe as you could maybe say some type of discharge that uh, overloads the electrical systems of the drone. Okay, so basically that's what we would do. We would capture it with the net, put it to the ground, spear it. Okay, and then what we would do at that point is we would open it up, collect the power cells from it, and bring the power cells back to our city, our underground city, if you will. Although I do recommend against doing that because what if they put a tracking device in the power cell? Anyway, so these metallic orbs, okay, and I did have an experience of these metallic orbs that look exactly like the picture I saw in the news. Okay, I'm not sure if the dimensions were the same. Once again, there might be different dimensions. So these are drones. Yes, and humanity was in conflict with these drones at one time in the past. And I experienced this at the time of enlightenment, living that lifetime. Okay, so just wanted to talk a little bit about that and to show you how experiences you have during enlightenment, can prove to be informative on your current or present adventure as you undertake it. All right. So thank you very much for listening, and have a great one.